I want to play a clip. I think this was last Thursday or Friday, about the Fort Hood killer, this guy Hassan. Cut one, go. But as I read who this person was, this barbarian was, who slaughtered these folks at Fort Hood, I'm not going to take my logic and my rationality and park it. It's becoming ever so clear that he is a jihadist or a fundamentalist of some kind. Now, folks, I used to work at the Justice Department in the Reagan administration. I was chief of staff to the great Attorney General Edwin Meese. I was not a line prosecutor, but I used to see a lot of things. Now, I don't know how this guy got as far as he got, through the military bureaucracy, through law enforcement bureaucracy, through the intelligence bureaucracy, unless everybody was turning a blind eye to him because of his faith. And no, let's not play games here. I'm not saying all Muslims do this. Obviously, all Muslims don't do this. But we have forces arrayed against us, aligned against us throughout the world, a fundamentalist effort to destroy the West, destroy this country, and do as much damage as possible. The fact that I even have to say this after 9/11, or after the half a dozen other terrorist attacks on Americans and American soldiers and sailors over the years, is really pretty pathetic. But I have to, because the first time this story broke, I was watching news on TV, and one anchor was saying, I can't mention his name, he said, because it may cause issues. You know, I have to have it absolutely confirmed beforehand. Well, what if his name was Joe Smith? You'd mention it in 2 seconds. They act like the American people are racists. The American people are not racists. They act like the American people are marching in the streets attacking Islam or Muslims. They're not. We're not. You know, whether it is this issue of fighting terrorism, domestic and foreign, or protecting our liberty and private property here at home from a rogue Congress, I have to conclude, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll be using this phrase more often, we are being ruled by a status oligarchy. Did you see the article today that 230-some members of Congress are millionaires? Well, good for them. I don't care if they're billionaires. But the point is, there is a huge disconnect between we, the people, and those who rule us. Bigger today than I can ever remember. And they have grand schemes for controlling us. They disrespect us. They look down on us. How else do you explain the fact that we have news outlets that won't tell us the name of the mass murderer last week because they're concerned the American people are going to take to the streets and start burning stuff? We don't do that. Left-wingers do that. Anti-war nutjobs who hate the military do that. We, the American citizen, when's the last time we did that? Took to the streets and started attacking people and burning stuff. I'm sick of this because the American people have behaved damn well considering what we have been through the last 15 years. People keep issuing fatwas, statements, claiming to want to destroy us. They murder 3,000 of our fellow citizens. We're supposed to take logic and rationality and put it aside. There are countries you can't travel in the Middle East because you're an American, and certainly if you're a Jew or a practicing Christian, you can't travel. I mean, I feel like we have one arm tied behind our back, whether it's militarily or even when we speak. And I reiterate, nobody that I know of is saying all Muslims behave X, Y. That would be absurd. That would be bigoted. But it doesn't mean that there isn't a sect, a fundamentalist sect or sects, S-E-C-T-S, that are waging war against us. How can you say they're not? They are. And we have this General George Casey. What a loser as a general. This guy opposed the surge. Now he's out there making stupid comments. And we have this idiot, Napolitano, going overseas, promising Arab leaders that we in America, we're ready for, we won't tolerate anti-Islamic behavior, anti-Muslim behavior. What's she talking about? The people who we've put in these positions, she was a governor, don't like us. They hate us. They hate who we are. They hate our traditions. They reject the fact that this is a Judeo-Christian founded nation. Dare I say, that's a historical fact. It's no surprise they're the same people who reject the limits on their power under the Constitution. This is a status oligarchy. Mark, what's an oligarchy? A relative handful of people who rule us. And we vote, and still they rule us by creating this massive administrative state, this bureaucracy, by putting into law their policies. Hate crimes? What the hell is a hate crime? All crimes are hate crimes. You kill somebody, you're worse than a hater. You're a murderer. And yet we take their politics and make it law. Whether it's social issues, whether it's economic issues, whether it's national security issues. And if you dare to speak out against it and wave the Constitution or the Declaration around, you're called a wingnut. Or you're called whatever it is that you're called. I just feel that in so many respects, this centralized federal government now is a rogue entity. They're issuing regulations and they're spitting them out every day, affecting everybody from the farmer to the trucker to the coal miner to the union guy to the non-union guy to the small business, big business. They just keep punishing us and tormenting us and telling us what we can and can't do. And to what end? Are we happier? Are we more prosperous? Are we improving mankind? No. They're improving their lot and increasing their power. And so what happens? I mean, even the military and these intelligence services and law enforcement, they become paralyzed. This Hassan is a jihadist. I said it last week and I'll say it again. This from ABC News today. U.S. intelligence agencies were aware months ago that Army Major Nidal Hassan was attempting to make contact with people associated with al-Qaeda. It is not known whether the intelligence agencies informed the Army that one of its officers was seeking to connect with suspected al-Qaeda figures, the officials say. Imagine what those families at Fort Hood think about this. What do you mean you knew he was trying to contact al-Qaeda and then you let him onto a base? A fellow Army doctor who studied with Hassan, Val Fennell, told ABC News, we would frequently say he was a Muslim first and an American second. And that came out just about everything he did at the university. Fennell said he and other Army doctors complained to superiors about Hassan's statements. Quote, and we questioned how somebody could take an oath of office, be an officer in the military, and swear allegiance to the Constitution and to defend America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and have that type of conflict, he said. Meanwhile, the Army Chief of Staff, General George Casey, who had opposed the surge in Iraq, raised concerns over the weekend that innocent Muslim soldiers could suffer as a result of the shooting at Fort Hood. Quote, I think speculation on Hassan's Islamic roots could potentially heighten backlash against some of our Muslim soldiers. This is exactly the mentality that got people killed at Fort Hood. This politically correct crap. How about the evidence, General? Does that matter to you? Trying to reach out to al-Qaeda? Saying what he said to his co-workers?